In tonight's headlines, border crossings are busy handling crowds preparing to welcome the new year. China urges Britain to return former student leader Tony Chung to Hong Kong. And the condition of an 8-year-old girl who is in a vegetative state worsens.
Cross-border points were busy today with incoming and outbound travelers ready to celebrate the new year. While many local residents made their way north, mainland visitors streamed into the city to welcome 2024. Data from online travel agencies showed that Hong Kong is the #1 New Year destination for mainlanders. Many of them want to visit Central and Disneyland, where the fireworks show is a major attraction. But others will usher in 2024 by mingling with the crowds to watch the fireworks display over the harbor. A number of the visitors listed sightseeing and shopping as their priorities. Some, however, are on one-day trips, saying they are worried about the crowds. Hong Kongers who are spending the 3-day holiday on the mainland said there's more variety there when it comes to entertainment. This woman is among those heading north. She's taking her children to the Shenzhen Safari Park. Hong Kong's customs and immigration departments have increased manpower at crossing points to ensure a smooth operation. Janice Yu, Cable News. The Chinese embassy in London has urged the British government to repatriate former student activist Tony Chung to Hong Kong. The embassy said he violated a supervision order imposed by Hong Kong's Correctional Services Department after he was released from prison in June. The department is now seeking his arrest after he fled to Britain last week while visiting Japan. Chung founded the now disbanded group Student Localism and was the youngest person to be jailed under the national security law. The 22-year-old is now seeking political asylum in Britain.
The condition of 8-year-old Chow Tin Yu, who has been in a vegetative state for the past 3 years, has worsened. Writing on social media, her father said Tin Yu's blood pressure has gone low and her heart rate has fallen. She's not responding well to medication, he added. The girl was diagnosed with a rare type of cancer in 2018. She underwent surgery 2 years later in Queen Mary Hospital to remove a tumor. But during the procedure, the blood supply to her brain was cut off for more than 50 minutes, and that caused her vegetative condition. The family had filed a lawsuit against the hospital authority, but both sides reached a settlement 2 months ago.
A search is underway for a man who stole $3,500 in cash and 2 phones from a blind man in Fortress Hill. The victim said he was approached by a man who spoke English at 10:30 a.m. on King's Road. They had a brief chat, and after the stranger had left, he realized that his bag was missing. The man immediately sought help from passers-by and alerted police. Witnesses say the male suspect was wearing a beige shirt, dark-colored trousers, and a cap. Police have arrested a man who allegedly grabbed a gold chain from a jewelry shop in the tourist area of Tsim Sha Tsui. The suspect pretended to be a customer when he entered the store at Park Lane Shoppers Boulevard. He reportedly looked at a selection of ornaments before picking up a gold chain and fleeing. Police were alerted, and the suspect was arrested on Hai Phong Road near Kowloon Park. The gold chain was returned to the store.
There is concern that enough is not being done to reduce fatal industrial accidents. 26 workers were killed this year, slightly up from 23 last year.
我哋睇到譬如呢20幾單嘅死亡事故，
Thomas Ho, chairman of the Construction Industry Council, said over half of the deaths could have been prevented if workers had followed safety guidelines and conducted proper risk assessment. The council has been training workers to put safety first, but Ho said a change in work culture at grassroots level is needed. Despite stiffer penalties and longer jail terms for ignoring safety protocols, many work sites did not follow the rules. However, Ho is optimistic that the situation will improve in the next 3 to 5 years.
Political heavyweight Story Lee says allowing visitors from the Greater Bay Area to obtain a multiple entry permit may boost Hong Kong's economy. Lee is the city's sole representative in the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress and has returned from Beijing after a meeting of China's top legislative body. She hopes her proposal to make it easier for mainlanders to come to Hong Kong will encourage them to travel to the SAR. Under her proposal, visitors from 9 Greater Bay Area cities, including Guangzhou and Zhuhai, will be able to come to Hong Kong on a multiple entry permit.
A sea of tents stretches as far as the eye can see on the outskirts of the southern Gaza city of Rafah. The flimsy structures shelter tens of thousands of Palestinians, most of whom have been displaced more than once by Israeli bombs. With little food, water and medicines, the threat of disease is rising in the makeshift camps as the weather turns cold. Israeli airstrikes keep pounding other parts of Gaza, much of which is already flattened. In Deir al-Bala, as in other Gazan cities, there's deep mourning as distraught Palestinians say a last goodbye to relatives and friends. At least 200 people died in the latest wave of Israeli attacks. Over 21,500 Palestinians, mostly women and children, have been killed in Gaza in the past 12 weeks as Israel retaliated for a Hamas raid in October.
The United Nations has warned Security Council members that Israel's offensive in Gaza could trigger a wider conflict as Palestinians in the occupied West Bank are increasingly targeted. Tensions have also increased along the Lebanese-Israeli border. And in the Red Sea, the United States is trying to prevent the Houthis in Yemen from disrupting shipping in the vital passageway. The plight of the Palestinians was highlighted at the UN session.
The killing of Palestinian civilians is not a collateral effect of the war. This Israeli assault relies by design on mass and indiscriminate killing of civilians. The humanitarian catastrophe in Gaza is not the consequence of a war. It is a tool employed by Israel to pressure people and force them out. The famine underway is not an undesired outcome of the war. It is starvation as a method of war.
This so-called rogue wave injured at least 8 people when it lashed the beach in the U.S. city of Ventura. In a bid to avoid more casualties, the officials in the Californian city closed beaches and ports this weekend. A little way from the shore, pedestrians in Ventura fled in terror as water from the sea gushed onto the streets. Huge waves as high as 12 meters have been reported along the Californian coast from San Diego to the San Francisco Bay Area. High turf and coastal flood warnings are enforced this weekend. The authorities are taking no chances and have been building giant sand berms to try and protect houses on the seafront. People living along the coast have been warned of floods because of the combination of a storm from the Pacific and exceptionally high tides.